All right, Shalom. I want to give our praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachakodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutations to all the hopeful elect, pushing out this word in truth and in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. This is Brother Dequad coming. This is Brother Dequad from the DC camp coming back at you with another lesson, and I'm entitled this, "The Wow of the Devil," or "Device of the Devil, the War on Terror." Okay, and I was just doing some research and trying to be inspired to do a lesson, and I was reading a few articles, and I just seeing how how they using the war on terror to target the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. Chiefly the so-called Latinos and blacks, so-called Negroes, but the Native Americans is lumped in there. So let me just start with this really quickly. This is Ephesians 6 verse 10. It says, "Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil." Now, when you look into the word wiles in the Greek,
Strong's G 3180, Methodiah.
yeah, like a method, It says Methodiah. It says cunning arts, deceit, craft, or trickery. Now, there was a time in the scriptures where they used craft and trickery to hurt our people. Okay, and nothing's new under the sun. The same things is going on now. That's why the Lord said, "Be strong," in the Lord and in the power of His might, man. Because that's the only thing that's going to be able to protect you in those days. Okay. Remember, wisdom and knowledge shall be a stability at our times. And, let me just keep reading. It says, verse 12, it says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." Now, them principalities, those powers, the rulers of this world, they have a plan. And their plan is to what? To eliminate the majority of you so-called Negroes and Latinos and Native Americans, as well as chip the rest of the population so that they can control them. Okay, and in the war on terror is nothing but a device, to help them get to that level. All right, now let me read a story. Really quickly. This is let me see. This is all according to the Lord's plan. All right. Because the Lord is turning these people. The Lord is moving, man. Ultimately, the Lord controls the minds of the rulers. He's the orchestrator. All right. But He's allowing all this to happen, and He's going to allow these people to come down on His people so that He can show His power, as He did in the days of old. So let me read this really quick. This is Psalms 105 and verse. Yeah. This is Psalms 105 and verse 23. It says, "Israel also came into Egypt, and Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham. And he increased his people greatly and made them stronger than their enemies. He turned their heart to hate his people, to deal subtilly with his servants." So, hey, we in the new Egypt again. All right. And you see our people coming to this land. Well, let me get that word real quick. Subtilly is nakal. Nakal means to be deceitful, to be crafty, to be canavish, which I never read that word before. It says to be dishonest or unscrupulous. All right. The deceiver, because this is the devil. All right. And what the scriptures say, that the devil is going to try to cast us in the prison because he knoweth that he have but a short time. Now, these so-called white people, these Edomites, the ones who makes the laws and controls this place that we in, they are the new Egyptians. Okay, they feel as though they have a short time, like they becoming a minority, which is why you see a rise in uh, uh with Trump and them. So let me actually go to the story. Exodus 1 and verse 9. Now I don't want to read the whole thing. All right, but it's important to know that there were 70 souls that came in there because they was small. You know, this is Exodus 1 verse 7. It says, "And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land." And that's what you see. Well, for one, let me, that's a little bit more I want to read, but I want to show you, you know, that Joseph, he died, you know, as did the Pharaoh that he worked for, you know, and the 70 members that came to Egypt, they multiplied and grew exceeding strong, man. Now you know that, you know, it's dangerous for people, or nothing could be more dangerous for immigrant population, because that's what, hey, we was immigrants. When we sojourned into the land of Egypt, we were strangers. Okay? Just like they calling our people, the so-called Latinos, aliens now. Well, that's what we were in the times of Egypt. When that famine came. Well, that's what our people is faced with now. You know? That's why they traveling. There's no new thing under the sun. You know? But they feel as though that we are becoming more what you call it, more of a population than them. You know, so nothing is more dangerous for an immigrant population than to grow strong, to be fruitful and prolific, man. You know, and you've seen it time and time again. Even what they say about Hitler. All right, that when you know the main population, which is the so-called whites, the Edomites, when they fear that they losing power, you know, and they losing their majority status and they benefits that they enjoyed as the privileged population, and they feel threatened, then they gonna call the other as taking their power from them, man. You know, and you know what happened with that? They was all put into concentration camps with Hitler. So they gonna do the same thing now, and you see them doing that with our people. All right. Now it's a few articles that I wanted to get, but it's some of these articles that I seen I wasn't able to read. There was one called "Vulnerability and Opportunity: Immigration in America's War on Terror," because you hear. Matter of fact, let me see if I got that article. Right. It says Trump keeps invoking terrorism to get his border wall, because what they saying is that a lot of immigrants is becoming terrorists, man. You know. So not only is they trying to say that they are terrorists, but that's how they're gonna try bringing the chip. But it's a whole nother thing. But they saying that's you can learn from Europe. That a lot of the immigrants are criminals, man. So they calling them terrorists. Now I just said, but this dude, Tupac, one of his interviews a long time ago when I used to watch it, he said that you could see that America's turning the guns away from like Iraq, these Middle Eastern countries, and they turn them right back, pointing them right at you. So they was able to use this war on terror to build up the police force here in the domestic territory, you know, in their own country. So that was one thing. All right. It was a book from this dude named J.G. Hayworth that said whatever it takes: illegal immigration, border security, and the war on terror, man. Now, I want to go here to the criticisms of the war on terror. It says criticism of the war on terror addresses the moral ethics, efficiency, economics, as well as other issues surrounding the war on terror. It also touches upon criticisms against the phrase itself, which was branded as a misnomer. The notion of a war against terrorism has proven highly contentious, with critics charging that participating governments exploited it to pursue long-standing policy/military objectives, reduce civil liberties, and infringe upon human rights. It is argued that the term war is not appropriate in this context as the war on drugs, since there is no identifiable enemy, and that it's unlikely international terrorism can be brought to an end by military means. So, if they know that international terrorism can't be brought to an end by military means, then what is their real motive? It said that the governments use it to exploit long-standing policy/militaries. And then when you go back to Ephesians 11, it talks about some powers in high places. See, our people don't understand that these devils, they took crafty counsel against our people, man. You know, to keep us down and to keep our population down. Okay, there's nothing new. Now, I'm gonna keep going. It says other critics, such as Francis Fukuyama, whatever, note that terrorism is not the enemy but a tactic. That's what this is. What's another word for a tactic or a synonym? An action or strategy carefully planned to achieve a specific end. Strategy, battle plans. Yeah, you don't know that you're in a war, man. I want to look up fucking synonyms. Look, a plan, procedure, or expedient for promoting a desired end or outcome. So this doesn't give synonyms. Nah. Okay, I thought it would give us a synonym. But it's all good, you know? Come on, son. Okay. Let me see. Okay. No, that's all good. That ain't what I want anyway. But still, a tactic calling it a war on terror obscures differences between conflicts such as anti-occupation insurgents and international I forgot how to say that, mujahideen. With a military presence in Iraq and Afghanistan, it is associated with collateral damage. Shirley Williams maintains that this increases resentment and terrorist threats against the West. Yeah, because when you put military presence in these other people's countries, that's going to make them hate America, which is going to heighten the terroristic threats against America. It says other criticisms include United States hypocrisy, media-induced hysteria, and that changes in the American foreign and security policy have shifted the world opinion against the U.S. So that's what I wanted on that. It's a lot of stuff on this, man. To see how they just trying to move it to pretty much face their guns at us, man. You know. But hey, 2 Corinthians 13:8 says, "For we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth." You know. See, this is all the Lord's plan. Like I got in Psalms 105, that He turned their hearts to hate His people. And let me go back into Exodus 1. Let me get back to here real quick. Let me go back to Exodus, the first chapter. And I'm going to keep reading. It says, verse 11, "Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with the burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramesses. But the more they afflicted them," this is a good point. This is the point I wanted. "But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel." So the more they afflict us, the more we multiply, the more we grow. And I ain't just talking about in number. Because the more you put in affliction on the children of Israel, the more and more they seek the Lord, man. Matter of fact, and let me see this real quick. I don't have this one written down. Let me see if I can find it. This is Hosea. Nah. Yeah, this Hosea 5:15 says, I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face in their affliction. They will seek me early. So, hey, while they're afflicting us even more, okay, a lot of people is coming to the truth, man. You know? That's why I said they can. This thing is not of us, man, and they can't do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. Because the more they do that, the more our people is seeking the Lord. Okay. Hey, myself included, I didn't know exactly what was going on. You know, when I didn't know the truth, but I knew it was something, and it led me to seek. You know. All I knew is that something wasn't right. We being oppressed. We ain't being treated fairly, man. I didn't even understand racism and things like that. But the more they did it, the more they put a separation, man, and more and it made us seek. Now remember, we are going to we going out to get the men that's sighing and that's crying for all the abominations that's done in the midst thereof. A part of that is the oppressions that we going through, man. You know, so the more they afflicted us, the more we multiply and grew. The more this truth is multiplying and growing, and now they are grieved. They are grieved because of the children of Israel, man. It says, and the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter and hard bondage, and mortar and brick, and all manner of service in the field. All the service wherein they made them to serve was with rigor. And that's why they got, now, with the war on terror, they got all these, and there was another article I was reading, but I ain't pull all of them up. They got all these, what you call it, concentration. They got these concentration camps. They fund a lot of the funding. They said since the war on terror began, it's been $2.4 trillion, man. You know. But let me show you how these so-called white people are feeling, man. They feeling the pressure. It says psychologists break down the insecurities that fuel white supremacists. Just read a little bit of it. Look at this one. It says, well, I'll just read the top. It says white nationalism is on the rise in America, and the recent El Paso and Gilroy shootings prove it can be deadly for minority groups and the general public. It says Business Insider spoke to experts about what motivates individuals to become white nationalists. They are typically motivated by feelings of insignificance, and they tend to feel minority groups are responsible for their disempowerment. While identifying whether a person will become an extremist can be tricky, psychologists suspect people who are narcissistic, paranoid, and aggressive are more likely to adopt white nationalism. Now, the same is true for Israelites, man. They try to put that we're aggressive on them, we're narcissistic, you know, and we're paranoid. That's what they try to put on us too. You know? Oh, yes, here it is. This is what I want to see right here. Go down here. Right here. It says, white supremacists are spreading their message at record numbers between 2017 and 2018. Efforts to spread white supremacist propaganda increased by 182%, according to Anti-Defamation League. And according to the Anti-Defamation League. Propaganda material tout white superiority over racial and religious minority groups and feature a recruitment element, ADL found. Now, see all of this, matter of fact, I want to see this. It was another one. Nah, this ain't the one. I can't find the one that I wanted. But this is what they saying. To fight white supremacist violence, let's not repeat the mistakes of the war on terror. Read this a little bit. It says, Americans often respond to tragedy by turning to ill-considered dangerous ideas, but the suddenly popular idea of launching a domestic version of the war on terror proposed in the wake of a mass shooting in El Paso and Dayton is one of the worst ever. So they proposing these things by these shootings that's happening, man. But they're using so-called white people to do so. You know? See, you think that they finally coming down on the so-called hate groups, the white hate groups? Well, they've been doing that, man. It's just used as a device to to fulfill their purposes, man. You see? Now, it was something else that I can't remember. But let me go to damn, I wish I remembered that. This is Exodus 2 and verse 23. It says, and it came to pass in the process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of bondage, and they cried, and their cry came up into the Most High by reason of bondage. And the Most High heard their groanings, and the Most High remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and Jacob. And the Most High looked upon the children of Israel, and the Most High had respect unto them. Okay? So the more they try to afflict us, that the Lord is going to hear us. He's going to hear our cries, man. And all of this, like I said, is according to the Lord's plan. Let me get Exodus 9 and verse... Because when our people seek the Lord seeking us. It says, Exodus 9 verse 13 says, and Yahweh said unto Moses, rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh and say unto him, thus saith Yahweh, power of the Hebrews, let my people go that they may serve me. For I will at this time send all my plagues upon thine heart, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, that thou mayest know that there is none like me in all the earth. For I will stretch out my hand, that I may smite thee and thy people with pestilence, and thou shalt be cut off from the earth. And in very deed for this cause I have raised thee up, for to show in thee my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. So that's why the Lord's doing that, man. You know, and we is playing a vital role by declaring the name of the Lord, man. And he said that when this gospel is preached throughout the four corners, then shall the end come. Okay? So he hardened their hearts, man. You know? For this thing to happen, man. But this race wars is all evident, man. It's going to happen. This is Matthew 24:7 says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Now, when you go into that word nations, it's ethnos, man. Which, when you go into the definition of ethnos, it says ethnic group. The definition of ethnic means of or relating to large groups of people classed according to common racial, national, tribal, religious, linguistic, or cultural origin or background, man. So it's going to be race wars. These things that they're doing is going to lead to race wars, because you can't forget that the people who make the laws, man, they are Edomites. So they're going to side with these Edomites, man. Look at this Donald Trump thing, man. All right? So it's going to come a point in time where our people, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, they're going to come together, man. Because it's going to be us versus them and their governments, man. You see? And it's beautiful, man. This thing is going to explode, man. Because I remember back when Eminem, he released his album and it had White America on it, man. You know, they was trying to censor what he was saying because it was exploding. But at that time, that's when he started to see that it was many people that felt just like him, man. You know? So, hey. Oh, let me get it. This is Zephaniah 3 and verse 19. It says, behold, at this time I will undo all that afflict thee, and I will save her that halted, and gather her that was driven out, and I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame. And hey, when this thing explodes, man, we're gonna get fame, man. Although we're gonna be afflicted, we're gonna gain fame from what they're doing, man. You know? Lord said what? Oh shit, let me get it. Acts 5. And I don't want to make this lesson too long. You know, I was all over the place, but I just wanted to make that connection what I seen. Acts 5 and verse Nah. Acts 5 and verse 35, it says, and said unto them, ye men of Israel, take heed to yourselves what ye intend to do as touching these men. For before these days rose up Thaddeus, boasting himself to be somebody, to whom a number of men, about 400, joined themselves, who were slain, and all, as many as obeyed him, were scattered and brought to naught. After this man rose up Judas of Galilee in the days of taxing, and drew away much people after him. He also perished, and all, even as many as obeyed him, were dispersed. And now I say unto you, refrain from these men, and let them alone. For if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught. But if it be of the Most High, ye cannot overthrow it, lest happily ye be found even to fight against the Most High. And that's why they can't overthrow this thing, even though they want to silence it. It's going to explode, man. You know? Hey, man. Hey, prior to this, man, we felt like we was at rock bottom, man. You know? But the Lord is about to change things around. It's going to be something that's going to happen that's going to make 200 million missiles to bomb this place up, man. And everybody going to know that we are the children of God, you know? So anyways, let me grab a couple more and I'm close. This is Psalms 21 verse 11 says, for they intend evil against me, they imagine a mischievous device which they are not able to perform. Okay? They're not going to be able to perform these things. Psalms 33 and 10, it says, Yahweh bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught, he maketh the devices of the people of none effect. So this counsel that they devising against us is going to be of none effect, man. He's going to make disappoint their devices, man, of the crafty. And they won't be able to perform their enterprise, man, what they intend against us. No, it's going to backfire on them, man. They thinking they're going to try to kill the people of God, and that's going to be the reason that they be destroyed, man. All right? Micah 2 and 1 says, woe unto them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is the power of their hand to do. Remember, they are the princes of power of this world, man. You see? It says, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away, so they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh, behold, against this family do I devise evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for this time is evil. Man, this is gonna be a beautiful thing, man. You know, but we gotta go through the rough to get to the good, man. I'm gonna close on this. This is Proverbs 1 verse 31. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. Okay? And that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna be filled with their own devices. It's gonna turn upon their own heads, man. That which they devise against us is gonna be turned upon their own heads. Like Haman, man. All right. So with that little one, that was an edifying lesson. Till the next one, I'm gonna give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Baal Shem, Yahweh Shai,